The Galactic Empire spans, well, the entire galaxy, but what does Imperial occupation look like on different planets? And I think Scarif is a good example of an Imperial planet. It is far out in the Outer Rim territories, but still located in the Slice, and is obviously a planet the Empire wanted to keep a secret, hosting the Imperial Center of Military Research, otherwise known as Scarif Base. An Imperial architecture comes to life with the Citadel Tower being the main focus of the base, with a distinct Imperial design over the ocean planet. And with the base having tram lines and spaceports along the sandy beaches, allowing for efficient flow of traffic in and out of the planet and into the Citadel Tower. The planet Scarif was also kept under heavy lockdown, with a planetary deflector shield, and the deflector shield deterred opponents from any ground assault or orbital bombardment. And getting out of the planet would also require the deflector shield to be disabled, meaning if you are on Scarif there is one way in and one way out. The shield was also controlled by a Golin M3185 space station, which allowed transports to dock, refuel, and depart from Scarif without the need of landing on the planet, which really controlled who needed to enter and exit the Citadel Tower. And Scarif is a great example of how the Empire can control an entire planet for a singular purpose. Scarif also had specialized unique troopers and vehicles. Shore troopers had specialized armor and helmets for coastal beachy climates, and shore troopers were a rare sight as a majority of them were deployed on Scarif, but their time spent in training on Scarif allowed them to adapt and occupy other planets with tropical climates. And the all-terrain cargo transport, or the AT-ACT, was used to patrol the shallow water of Scarif along the base and transport goods and troopers along the base as well. And the Empire even had several mining locations across the ocean planet, extracting its natural resources, all being guarded by the planetary deflector shields and specialized coastal guards. Scarif, to put it simply, is an Imperial planet. But on a more wild planet like Vandor, the Empire struggles to maintain its grasp. Located in the Outer Rim territories, an isolated planet but right off the Corellian Run, Vandor was a frontier mountainous planet with only one known trading post, Fort Yipso. This was the only known location before the Empire arrived. And with little development and most of its activity on the planet was for mining, few found a home on Vandor, and it quickly broke out into skirmishes between settlers for mining claims, further deterring any settlement on Vandor. And the Empire only had one goal on Vandor: mining coaxium at the Crispin Imperial Depository. And coaxium was the best hyperfuel on the market for hyperspace travel, especially for Imperial Star Destroyers. And Vandor was one of the few planets known to produce coaxium, fueling the Imperial war machine. And the Imperial occupation of Vandor was pretty simple: keep it under the radar and efficient for coaxium mining, and the Empire opted for building a rail line network through the mountainous terrain to transport the coaxium. And to my knowledge, this is the only known convey-X rail line used by the Empire, and it's used to protect and transport the valuable goods. And the Empire employed range troopers as security, as coaxium was known to be heisted off the trains in the past. And range troopers had specialized winter armor and helmets similar to shore troopers, and they had specialized Gripton boots which allowed them to travel along the transport at high speeds and winding through the mountains. Range troopers were only really sent to frontier planets to protect valuable shipments where the Empire didn't have sufficient resources to deploy a mass amount of stormtroopers and fully occupy a planet. To put it simply, range troopers were the best of the best in terms of stormtroopers, and on mountainous planets like Vandor, they fit right in. And the last Imperial location I want to take a look at is Mimban, the planet of Imperial waste. And for a little bit of context about Mimban, it was located in the expansion region of the Slice and was overall a very muddy and swampy planet, and one of the worst planets to be deployed for in the Galactic Empire. And what made Mimban so important was its hyperbraid mineral deposits. And hyperbraid was the mineral needed for turboblasters on Star Destroyers. And like coaxium on Vandor, hyperbraid on Mimban was fueling the Empire's war machine. And unlike the mountainous desolate planet of Vandor, Mimban was home to the Mimbanese, the hostile natives who were stopped at nothing to protect their planet. And the Empire inherited Mimban from the CIS during the Clone Wars, and the Mimbanese Liberation Army were trained by the clones in guerrilla warfare, so they were ready to take on the Empire during their occupation. And because Mimban was mostly a swampy planet, the Empire had very little permanent structures besides the hyperbraid mines. Trench warfare was the tactic for defense and assault on Mimban, with makeshift Imperial camps along the way. The Empire also didn't send its best to fight in Mimban, they sent Imperial rejects. Deserters, failed Imperial special forces, or dishonored members of the Empire were all sent to Mimban as punishment for failing the Galactic Empire. And being sent to Mimban was quite possibly the worst thing and worst place for an Imperial soldier. Instead of training to be a captain or Imperial special forces or even a regular stormtrooper, on Mimban you were trained to be a mud trooper and given specialized armor only to keep the mud off of you, and for weapons they were given scraps that were often used or discarded weapons that didn't meet Imperial standards. The Empire's goal on Mimban was simple: mine hyperbraid and manage Imperial waste. Nothing more, nothing less. And each one of these planets were occupied by the Empire for specific reasons. On Scarif it was for Imperial research and data, showing off how far security can go when the Empire doesn't want its secrets out. And on Vandor it was transporting coaxium, custom rail lines stretching the mountainous planet, all to fuel the Empire. And Mimban was truly what Imperial occupation can look like, a constant battlefield being fought by Imperial rejects for mineral deposits. And what stands out on each of these planets is the specialized troopers and technology, each planet having a specialized trooper for its climate and terrain, and massive industrial undertakings all in the name of keeping the Imperial war machine running. And that's what Imperial occupation can look like on different planets. I certainly hope to see more Imperial locations across the galaxy and what they look like under Imperial occupation. So with that, subscribe if you would like, and until next video, goodbye.